everyone, and welcome to this year's edition of the Coaches Show. And, of course, with me on my left is the head coach of the Indian Nation, Coach Nees. And Coach, I know you've been having some practices already. You've had a couple of scrimmages. How are the boys looking?
Right now, I think we're looking pretty good. I think we're number one, injury-free, but I think more importantly, we're stronger than last year. We're bigger than last year. Our team chemistry was always good, and so that's not something that we've been worried about. But I really believe that with the graduation, the combination of some people graduating a lot of their players and us bringing back a lot of our players with another year in their weightlifting, into the speed improvement and stuff, I think right now that we've got a pretty competitive team.
Well, I know you've had two scrimmages so far. Tecumseh's with one of them, and I can't remember who the other one was with.
Xenia.
Xenia, that's right. How did those go?
Well, Tecumseh, we ended up in 3-2, and we thought we played pretty well against a very improved Tecumseh team who is supposed to be one of the leaders over there in the CBC. And then we came back last week, played Xenia, started off terribly against Xenia, and got ourselves down, believe it or not, to a 26-0 start, and came back at the end of half and moved ahead 27-26. Ended up and turned the ball over twice in the third quarter and dropped the scrimmage 32-27. But we were obviously very pleased with the fact that we were able to come down from a 26-0 deficit.
Now, when I read that in the paper, it kind of reminded me of the Vandalia game a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When you went in at halftime, I think you were down 26 points or something like that, and came back and won that one.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You obviously you don't want to get down. You don't want to have that type of situation. But sometimes the circumstances just happen. It was our first live special teams type deal, and we made a couple mistakes in the special teams. We made a couple mistakes where we threw the football and stuff like that. And as a result, though, we're hoping that those special teams mistakes got out of our way. We'd rather have them now than during the first game against Toledo St. John's.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I want to get into the players and the roster you've got coming back this year and what you lost, but let's talk a little bit about last year. You ended up 4-6. I know you're never happy unless there's a 0 on the end of that record. On the right-hand side, and you started out with Toledo Rogers, and that was the game got to end up calling it because we were so dominant in the weather delays and everything. But you came back and you had a close game against Kings, you had a close game against Lima Senior, and I had the feeling if we could have won those two ball games, it wouldn't have been 4-6.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, and that's one of the big things that we have to make the strides this year is we got to make sure that we can put ourselves in a position to win those games at the end. And I think in both cases, if we would have done a couple things differently, and I know you can say that quite a bit, but that's the whole concept of believing.
Yeah.
That you got to get out there and say, hey, if we do this, it can make a difference. And I think in both of those cases, you're absolutely right that we could have been sitting at a 3-0 rather than a 1-2 start.
Yeah. Well, Kings was a 24-23 loss, and Lima Senior was a 49-42 loss. They were probably the most athletic team we played all year, weren't they?
Oh, definitely they were. And they went into the track conference and they were down to the last couple of weeks as possibilities of going into the playoffs. And it was a team that was very athletic, very, very quick. We knew that their passing game was going to be dangerous. What hurt us there was the running attack, and so we've got to be better focused on the running game against them next year.
Well, you start out with another Toledo team this year. There's St. John's. What do we know about St. John's?
Well, what we know about St. John's is St. John's has been 4-6, 5-5 for the last couple of years, and that's kind of deceptive because when you look at the schedule they play, it's probably as tough a schedule, if not a tougher schedule than our schedule, meaning that they played last year, we exchanged some films, and then we start looking at the stuff, and they played Cleveland Heights, who is a third-round Division I team in the playoffs. If our fans remember a while back in '99 when we played Brother Rice out of Michigan, who was the state champions, okay, they have Brother Rice on their schedule, and we're beaten by Brother Rice. And then also they were beaten by Hilliard Darby, which was another playoff team that one of our Piqua alumni, Ryan Hume, coaches for. Okay. So those are 3 losses that they had against 3 outstanding teams. And then in the meantime, once those games are over with, then they go play in the track conference with Toledo Central Catholic, with Lima Senior, and with Toledo Whitmer. So they're in an outstanding conference, and they have just a heck of a schedule. So they're a team that's well schooled, and they're going to be well steeled for us.
Are they Division II?
They're going to be I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they're Division II. They were formerly Division I team, but I think them and DeSales both went down to 2, and then Central Catholic went down to 3.
Okay. Well, I know going up to Toledo last year to play Rogers, looking at their schedule, very similar to what you was talking about with St. John's coming down here, that's very competitive up in that area, depending upon who they put in their off-conference games, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Toledo football is a very competitive situation, and the thing is that we've had a rough time scheduling. Independent games, teams to play, and Toledo has just been kind of a place the last couple of years that when we put out the call that we have an open week, we always seem to get a response from Toledo. We don't get a lot of response from down in the Cincinnati area, so that's what kind of what has been forcing us to go up and make that 2-hour drive.
You've got a team coming back on your schedule this year. I don't think we've played them for a long time, and that's Urbana.
Right. Yeah, Urbana actually, Urbana was on our schedule my first 2 years as the head football coach, and that was a traditional second game of the season, back when Coach Magato was coaching and so forth and so on. So, again, our fans probably remember the Rogans. And,
I was going to say, you got any Rogans on the team?
I don't know. I hope not.
They had a ton of them over
yeah,
there.
they did. And, they've got an excellent team. They've been, I think, 9-1 and 10-0 for the last 2 years, and they've got a great program over there. So they went through a period when Bob Brenning left. They went through a period they were a little down, and then they've been bouncing back up again, and they're the cream of the crop over in that division with Tecumseh.
Division 2?
They're a Division 3.
Division 3, okay. Then we've got Northmont coming. That's a home game with Northmont. That's a Division 1.
Yeah.
How many Division 1s do we have this year?
Well, we'll have Northmont, and then depending on where some of the rest of the teams fall, most of them are going to be Division 2 teams. Troy's down to Division 2 now, and Fairborn is down in Division 2, so I think Northmont will, in fact, be our only Division 1 team.
Well, it's been pretty normal for us to have at least 2 or 3 Division 1s in there, hasn't it?
Yeah, as of 2 years ago, we had 6 of them on the schedule. And it's the same 6 people, but what has happened is since they've moved the divisions and they've lengthened them out, those Division 1s, just become Division 2. But they're still big Division 2 teams.
Well, we've also, the other home games besides Toledo, St. John's, and Northmont is going to be Greenville, Trotwood, and then Troy, of course, at home. We won 2 of those 3 games. Trotwood smoked us pretty good by 35 points. Greenville, we won 51-27. And then the Troy game, of course, 33-27. And I don't care what that score is as long as it's in favor of Piqua.
1 point's good enough. 1 point's good enough when you go there.
That's all it takes. And then the away games are Urbana. We're going back up to Lima Senior. Is that series going to continue on with Lima Senior? Or is this the last year?
Well, this is the last year of the contract, but we're working it out whether or not we can get another 2 years on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess they got their stadium completed now.
Stadium is completed for last time the people have been up there. Both concrete sides are down now, and it's an all steel stadium. They've got a building. They've just finished a building on the back part of the home side, and then they've got a building similar to ours in the end zone.
Okay.
So they've got a good complex together.
Good. And then we got Fairborn's away. That was a 34-6 win for us last year. Vandalia Butler, that was a 31-14 loss. That's an away game at Butler. And then we're going up to Sydney. They're going to have some new grass, new turf up there.
Going to have new turf. Yeah, you got another GWAC team that's turfing up. It leaves, I believe, Greenville and Troy as the remaining 2.
That's a miniature Alexander Stadium up there if I ever saw one.
It's
a good place. Mud Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I think with the fact that they have 2 teams playing there most of the time, I think that's a good call for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's a smart move on their part. No question about it. Well, let's talk a little bit about last year's players. You didn't lose a lot of seniors, but you lost some talent.
We did. We lost some talent. We lost some great offensive linemen. We lost our 2 middle linebackers. We lost a running back. So we've lost some people. Yeah, and we also our starting quarterback. So we had some people that have moved on, and then hopefully we'll be able to move some younger guys in and take their places.
Well, the quarterback Monin last year was probably, except for maybe him a few years ago, was probably the biggest quarterback you've had in a few years.
Yeah, he was. He was a big guy that was able to give us some good punch both in the zone read and also in the passing game.
Yeah. And then the linebackers, I was looking at the number of linebackers, and I don't remember what it was, but it looked like you had maybe 4 or 5 of your key linebackers graduated on you last year.
Well, we just had actually 2 of them.
2 of them?
Yeah, just 2, Hayden Hall and Domstone, our 2 insides. Our 2 outsides, Austin Hall and Derek Gullett are back.
Well, you lost Magato on your offensive line.
Yeah, no, when you're talking about the big guys now, we lost Mags, we lost Matt Stolmer, we lost Tommy Brown, we lost Shorty. Ryan Shorridge, and we lost Watkins. So we lost 5 of them that all equated. I think if you add it up, you're talking a couple tons.
Yeah, some tonnage.
Yeah, and it was a great offensive line. Yeah. So we lost that, and we lost our second leading rusher. So there's people that some holes we have to fill.
Well, the second leading rusher was that. I'm trying to think.
Austin Reed.
Austin Reedy, that's right. Well, he played linebacker also, or defensive back.
He played some linebacker for us, just on a couple, but he was generally running.
Well, another one you lost, a good athlete, was Ryan Neal.
Yes, and you know what? I am remiss to say that. I forgot that was our guy that came in from Tecumseh. He transferred in from Tecumseh, fit in and done a great job for us. So, yeah, we in fact lost Ryan too. Yeah.
So what are we looking at this year? You got, sounds like according to the paper, you've got Dela Cruz running the offense as quarterback?
Yeah, Rupert's back at quarterback, and we got Trent Yeoman returning at running back. We also then have Darian Tips, who played for us during the first part of the year, and he's back. And then we also have Elijah Hudson, who's playing some running back. Also, Elijah played outside linebacker for us last year. He filled in when we had a couple injuries. So we've got those guys back, and the biggest thing we're trying to do offensively is we're trying to find a fit, for all three, all two, one, whatever the case may be. We got to find a way to get everybody involved and keep everybody, as healthy and balanced as we can.
Obviously, Yeoman's had a career year last year. You expect that this year with the loss of the offensive line?
I don't know. It's a good question because I think Trent did a lot of stuff on his own. I also think that offensive line helped him, and I think it works together. And I think the offensive line we have right now is gelling pretty well. I think that's probably the most surprising group that we had. I think everybody at the beginning of the season, the number one thing we're talking about as coaches all summer is what are we going to do with what about the offensive line? What about the offensive line? And we got those five in there, and those guys are really meshing pretty well. So it looks right now like that they should be able to create some openings. And those guys, those running backs, whether or not it be Trent, whether or not it be Darren, whether or not it be Elijah, you give them some space and they can go. So it's not like last year we had to overpower a bunch of people.
Right.
We just had to give them a little bit of room, get those guys moving one way or the other, and they'll either cut back or bounce, and that's kind of how our running game is.
One of the things that I noticed last year about Trent was you're right. If he had a crack in that line, he usually found it.
Yeah.
But he also had that extra gear.
Oh yeah.
That once he got into that linebacking group or those defensive backs, they were not going to catch him.
Yeah. Part of our zone scheme is it's called slow and go, where you kind of slow, let it develop, let those guys get to the second level, and then go. And he's got some go. He's definitely got some go.
Now, is Dela Cruz, is he a passing quarterback? Is he an option?
He's both. We're not running two. We're running zone read with him in a couple of the options, but we're not talking about a true option where he's coming down the line and pitching the ball from under center. He's going to be back in shotgun most of the time, and he'll make some decisions. He'll make some option-like decisions back from his shotgun position. But Rupert's fairly underrated in terms of throwing the football. Rupert's got a good arm, and he can throw the football.
He's a junior this year?
He'll be a junior.
How big is he?
Rupert's about 5'10", 5'11", weighs about 171 pounds.
Okay, so he's your typical quarterback out of here. Not your big one, not your small one. Let's talk about a little bit about your receivers. You got Balkman back, the 6'4", stretchy guy with all the speed, the long legs anyway. And then you got Gertner back.
Yes,
and Honeycutt.
We got those two back, and then we also have Noah Lyman back. So we've got all four. We got four of our top receivers back. We got the two tall ones, and we got the two shorter guys that play in the middle, the slot receivers. They're the guys that are getting out there and making the combo routes and coming over the top. And then we've got the two guys that can stretch you deep.
The thing that I like about receivers, now when I played back when you played, before you played, as a matter of fact, it was all tight ends. There were no slots. Everything was packed in. You were a tight end or you were a guard or a tackle. But the thing I like about our offense with your receivers is that now you've got guys out there that have been in the system for, let's see, Honeycutt's a senior this year.
Honeycutt are seniors.
Yeah, and Bachman's a junior.
Bachman and Lyman are juniors.
Yeah, so you've got guys who've been in the system, and I think from a talent standpoint, they've got to be that much better than the defensive backs are playing against.
We'd like to think so. And one of the things we had a problem with last year was people rolling up and playing man and being a little physical with us, and we couldn't get open. And now, we have the expectation that we got four guys that can get open, four guys that can win, four guys that we can get out in space, and rather than them get us out in space, I think we can get those guys out in space and we can get the mismatch rather than the other way around.
Well, even if you can get half of your guys open.
Yeah, Yeah.
I mean, you only really need one, but
according to Lou Holtz, you only need one.
only need one.
Don't
Yeah.
cover the details. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
Exactly right.
So, what are you looking for as far as the conference this year? Where's the really tough teams coming from besides us?
I tell you what, I think everybody's. I know that it's coach speak or whatever, but I think everybody's strong. Starting off with Greenville. Greenville's got a ton of guys back. They've got a lot of momentum coming in. The 3-year starter, 2-year starter at quarterback.
Yep.
Got a lot of skilled people coming in. Trotwood has a decent amount of guys back. They didn't graduate a huge amount, so they've got some people. I think the big thing is everybody's got some people coming back, but they've also got some building. Sydney, from what I understand, the numbers are up, and they're continuing to kind of evolve from that little spot they got in a couple years ago where they lost so many kids. So I think they're going to be vital. Vandalia Butler has slowly been one of the best teams in the league. Year in, year out, we've got to make sure that we're not overlooking that, and I don't think we overlook them. But there's some games where I thought we should have played better against Vandalia Butler, and we got to get over that, that deal and make sure we're there. And of course, the Trojans, Game 10 is always going to be, a tough game.
Yeah.
They're in that build process, according to this year, and so they'll be, obviously an improved team.
It doesn't make any difference if you both go into that one 0-9.
Right.
That's going to be a tough ball game for both sides.
Exactly.
Who do you think in the rest of the conference is got a chance of maybe going all the way based upon your experience?
Well, we've been around quite a bit this summer in passing scrimmages, and we saw some outstanding teams, and through what we saw so far, I think Springfield is going to be an improved team. We saw Wayne and Centerville passing scrimmages. The one's got a new coach, the other one's got some great athletes. So I think those will be two teams that are probably going to be pretty well. Springfield, Shawnee looked like they were tough. We saw them in a passing scrimmage. Tecumseh is definitely going to be rebounding back from a 4-6 season last year. So I think those would be the ones a lot of people are talking about. Urbana, they got an outstanding quarterback back, and they got both of their leading receivers back. So that kid's got a couple MAC offers right away. We're going to play. I think it's going to end up. I think we're going to play 3 teams that have quarterbacks that already have scholarship offers.
Wow.
So it's going to be a year of us defending against quarterbacks, and then also trying to score some points ourselves on offense.
I'm not sure. Is this the second, probably the third or fourth year for Springfield's consolidation?
I couldn't tell you. I think right around there.
Yeah, something like that. It seems the first 2 years they just didn't seem to be totally consolidated, if you know what I mean.
No.
There was still the North and South, and it sounds like even last year they did pretty good. It sounds like maybe they're starting to get their act together as a team.
Yeah,
and that can be dangerous.
Yes, it can, and they're they've rolled off our schedule. So in terms of the rolls, they've rolled off our schedule. So we hope for nothing but the best for them off our schedule.
One last question before I let you go, Coach, because I know you've got a lot of things you got homework to do tonight, right?
Homework to do, and I also got to mention our offensive line.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
About those guys. Now, when we talk offensive line, our guy that's coming back that's got the most experience is Dylan Williams, our center. So Tex is the guy that thing's built around, and we were able to get Brendan Fries and Tristan Cox, 2 of our big defensive linemen. They're going to have to share a spot at guard. And they'll be able to alternate back and forth, and we'll keep them fresh on defense because we got a little bit of depth on the defensive line. Then when we look at the other guard, we've got Anthony Grunkelmeyer, a sophomore who could be probably one of the best sophomore linemen we've had here in a long time. And on the other side, on the right side, the two bookend tackles, we've got Cam Hill on one side, a big 6'5" kid who's just growing into his body, so he's going to be a big guy. And then Noah McGill, who played JVs last year, and he's really coming into his own too. Our tight end, we've got Nate Monin, Dan's brother, and then we've also got Nash Black. So we've got two big tight ends.
Nate's a pretty good sized boy. 6'4", 245.
Yeah, Nate's a big sized boy, very athletic. Both him and Nash play basketball, so they're also receiver threats along with those four receivers that we had just mentioned. So we've got a lot of people. The biggest thing we've got to do is offensively is we've got to make sure that we're rotating, we're doing this, we're doing the best we can. But we also it's a tough thing sometimes when you got 15, 16 guys keeping everybody happy. Making sure we get the ball here. So it's going to be it'll be an interesting situation.
Are you looking for speed offenses against you? I mean, people who are going to come up like the pros and the college teams are doing now with just, no huddle, just going to the line, calling the play, and making the defense try to figure it out.
That we've got that in our package, and we have been working all summer, and we've got better at it. So that's something that we can do. Now, how much we're going to do will probably depend on the game, and that type of stuff. The thing with the no huddle, the only thing with the no huddle is it restricts a little bit on what you can do in terms of usually you only have 3 or 4 runs, 3 or 4 passes, and we like to have a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Although sometimes when we're getting beat, it doesn't look like we have anything more than one single play. But we like to have a little bit more diversity in it, and that requires a little bit more of the huddle. But we do have a package where we can sit down and we can get on the ball and go.
You're not talking about the 1,500 coaches behind you, are you?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. That happens.
It does.
That
It
happens.
does. So what about your defensive line, your linebackers? Then?
Well, yeah, our defensive line now we've got Fries and Coxey back at their spots on defense. Then we've also has Dylan Runge and Jack Smeezing at ends. But in addition to that, we've got Jordan Taylor, who started half the time last year, and we got Brady Hill, who was an all-league player for us last year. So we got 6 guys that are essentially starters for us. The 2 inside linebackers have been replaced with Ike Karn and Jarrett Toops, 2 guys that played backups. Jarrett started a couple games last year when one of our linebackers got hurt, so he was able to start there. And then we've got Austin and Derek back at the outside. So, they're veterans back there. We've got 2 veterans back in the secondary. Al Nees is playing safety, and then we've got A.A. Lee back at corner. They've been playing there for 2 years. And then on the other side, we've got a battle going on between Tarek Higgins on one side, and then we've got Dylan Cole, and those 2 are kind of battling it out. And when we go to our 4 deep look, which will play probably a lot of times because of what people do offensively, then we put Darian Tips Clemens in at our strong safety, and then we are 2 deep with 2 corners. So Darren's more of our hybrid type player that he'll come in, he'll roll up, and he'll play a little man for us and also be that strong safety. So we end up and have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We like to think we got 16 guys that start for us on defense.
That's a great thing to have.
Depth is great, and we found out last year we had somebody hurt. We were able to replace them, and it's going to have injuries are inevitable.
Yes.
And you can't sit there and say, well, I hope nobody gets hurt. You better plan on somebody getting hurt and have some depth.
Somebody's going to get banged up sometime, but it's nice to know that you're not going to miss a step if you got to put somebody else in there because they're experienced.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your special teams.
Our special teams, Austin will be back punting. Alex Nees will be snapping. Tate Honeycutt will be holding. And then our kickoff guys, our kick guy who's going to do our field goals and extra points is Dylan Runge. Mm-hmm. And then our kickoff people will be kind of a combination. Runge will kick off, and then also Noah Lyman is going to kick off. And both of them kick a little bit different. I think we're going to go away a little from the conventional just kicking anymore and get into more of the pop-up stuff that drives us crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to start driving other people crazy with it. So we're going to get it on the ground and move it around, pop it up. Noah does a nice job of that. Dylan does some things that he does. So they're kind of going to be situational kickers. They both are going to be ready to kick at all times.
I see a lot of the college teams, and I think the first time I noticed it was with Ohio State, was the directional kickoffs into the corners.
Yeah.
And in that way you've got everybody isolated into a third or a quarter of the field, 22 guys.
Yeah, and that's, it just seems like it's so easy. Everybody practices the kickoff return, and everybody says, okay, ball's here, now you go here, you go here, you go. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the ball's kicked anywhere but here, it's just a free-for-all. So what we want to do is we kind of want to get that advantage a little bit and do the same thing. So I think we're probably going to lean more into that area. Now, it's not a big surprise because as soon as somebody plays this, they're going to see it on film, so it's not like we're giving away any secret.
Yeah, well, the Buckeyes do it every game, and they seem to be successful. Speaking of the Buckeyes, what do you think about this Braxton Miller situation?
Man, unfortunate. But you'd hope a place like Ohio State would have, somebody ready to go. And in this day and age, you got to have people like we just talked about. You got to have people, especially at that quarterback spot. He's so vital anymore. So you got to make sure you got somebody ready to roll.
Kenny Guyton graduated. I'm not sure what he's doing now, but maybe he could come back to graduate school or something for us. Anything else, Coach?
No, I think that's it. We're excited about the season. We got some new stuff at the stadium. There's going to be some changes as people come out in the stadium. You'll see some new things after the first week, some new things after the 4th and 5th week, and it's an ongoing process. So we're excited about that. We're excited about getting people out to the stadium and watching the Indians.
You excited about having your NFL players back?
Oh, that's going to be big too. That's going to be big having those guys back. It's going to be great to to see them and have the players be around them and stuff. So it's going to be an exciting year.
How many schools this size do you think have 5 guys that went into the NFL and played?
I don't think many. I don't think many, and it's it's a great tribute to the community, for allowing us to be able to coach guys like that.
Yeah, well, and the school system for being able to teach guys like that that could go on and make it to college, and that's going to be on the 29th of the Toledo St. John's game here at halftime. They're going to be recognized in the following day on Saturday evening. There's going to be a buffet dinner over at Edison Community College. I believe that's in the theater room. I don't know the official name of it, but I call it the theater room. And tickets for that are $25 a piece, and it's going to be a good night where you have a chance to mingle with the 5 guys who've played in the NFL and also listen to their story about how they went from Piqua High School to the colleges to the pros and their experiences and what they're doing now. So if you've got time to come out that night, you can get your tickets at the high school, I believe, and you can also get them at Thomas Jewelers downtown. They're $25 a piece. Coach, I want to thank you for your time again. I know it's a busy time for you, and we will be starting the regular coaches show the Monday after the St. John's game, Toledo St. John's game, so we want you to stay tuned for that. I'm Lloyd Shoemaker, Coach Nees. You've been watching Channel 5 Sports. See you next time.